Hi everyone. Welcome to Learning English Through History. Here we don't just study English. We live it. Every week you will hear now simple stories in English, full of useful words and phrases. Don't worry if you don't understand everything at once. Just listen, enjoy the story, and learn step by step. Our goal: to help you speak English with confidence, so grab a cup of tea, sit back, and let's start this adventure together. Subscribe now and join me on the journey of learning English through history. See you in the next video. Enjoy listening.
Far away, in a kingdom where golden towers pierced the sky and rivers glittered like threads of silver, lived Princess Seraphina. Her hair was the color of sunlight woven with silk, her eyes as blue as midsummer skies. To her people she was perfection, a jewel of the crown, untouchable, flawless, destined for greatness. Yet, deep in her heart, Seraphina knew another truth. Perfection is a cage, she whispered each night from her tower, gazing past the high palace walls into a world she had never touched. Her days were filled with lessons in diplomacy, swordplay she was rarely allowed to use, and endless rituals. Courtiers bowed low, flatterers praised her beauty, servants trailed at her every step. But none of them saw the restless fire in her soul. "Why must I repeat the words of others?" she asked Master Elian, her aging tutor. "Why must I wear the crown of those who lived before me, instead of shaping my own?" Elian sighed, his ink-stained hands trembling. "Because, Princess, a crown is not a gift. It is a chain that binds us to duty." "And what if I wish to break it?" she whispered. But Elian only shook his head. When Seraphina turned 18, a grand ball filled the palace. Chandeliers sparkled like frozen suns, violins sang, and princes from distant lands paraded before her. Each carried riches, promises, titles. She danced with them politely, smiling the smile her parents demanded. But in her heart, she felt empty. And then she saw him, a figure standing quietly near the pillars, not in velvet, but in leather worn by long roads. His eyes, deep and steady, held no flattery, no hunger for power, only truth. He bowed. "Would you grant me this dance?" It was Kael, a wanderer, a man with no crown, no title, no jewel. But when he held her hand, Seraphina's laughter was real for the first time that night. Days turned into weeks. Seraphina and Kael met in hidden gardens, moonlit courtyards, along the riverbanks where lotus flowers drifted. "The world is wider than your palace," Kael told her. "It is raw, untamed. It is not made of gold, but of soil, fire, storms, and yet it is alive." "And what am I?" she asked, her voice trembling. He smiled faintly, You are alive too, princess. If only you dare to be. Her heart ached. Could she dare? One night, unable to silence her thoughts, Seraphina slipped beyond the gates in a cloak, past villages, past meadows, into a forbidden forest. The trees loomed ancient, whispering. There, she met a hermit, his beard like snow, his staff carved with symbols older than the kingdom itself. "Child of gold," he rasped, "you are bound by a bargain struck in shadows. Your family's wealth was not earned, but cursed. The firstborn heir is chained, her life never hers to claim." Seraphina's heart pounded. "Then I was never free. Unless you break it," the hermit whispered. "And to break it, you must step beyond walls, beyond fear, and choose not duty, but truth." Before she could question more, the hermit vanished like mist. By candlelight, Seraphina scoured the royal archives. And there, written in brittle ink, she found it, the pact. Long ago, her ancestors had traded freedom for endless wealth. Since then, every heir lived not as themselves, but as vessels of duty. Her tears stained the parchment. "Even my dreams were stolen before I was born." But when she looked at her reflection in the polished marble floor, she saw fire in her eyes. No more. Kael became her anchor. By rivers and gardens, she poured out her heart. And Kael, ever steady, listened. "If you want freedom," he told her, "you must risk chains breaking. Chains never break without pain." "And if I fail," she whispered. He took her hand. "Then fail as yourself, not as the crown." Storm struck. Crops withered. Merchants fled. Whispers spread. Rebellion. The court demanded Seraphina marry a foreign prince to seal alliances. Her parents pleaded. The nobles threatened. But Seraphina stood tall. "I will not marry for power. I will not wear chains hidden as crowns. This kingdom does not need curses of gold. It needs courage." Shock filled the hall. Yet from the shadows came cheers, not from lords, but from guards, servants, and common folk. That night, as thunder cracked, the spirit of wealth rose, a towering figure of shadow and fire, eyes burning like molten coins. "You dare defy the pact," it roared. Seraphina, trembling but unyielding, lifted her chin. "I am not my ancestors. I am Seraphina, and my life is mine." The spirit howled, sending winds that shattered windows. But Kael stepped beside her, sword drawn, though it glowed not with steel but with courage. "Together," he said. And together they faced the storm. The curse broke, but Seraphina's story did not end. For freedom was not just words, it was roads to walk, people to serve, truths to face. She and Kael traveled beyond the golden palace, into mountains where snow-crowned peaks, deserts where caravans sang under stars, villages where laughter rose despite hardship. She learned to ride not just royal steeds, but weary mules. She ate bread baked in humble clay ovens, sat by fires where peasants told stories older than kings. And in each place, she was not princess, she was Seraphina. When she returned years later, her crown did not shine as brightly. The palace was no longer filled with endless jewels, but the kingdom was alive. Fields bloomed, markets thrived, songs echoed in villages. And when she stood on the balcony, the people did not bow because they feared. They lifted their voices because they loved. Beside her stood Kael, not as prince, but as her chosen partner, her equal, her love. And so, the golden princess became more than her crown. Seraphina, once bound by a curse, discovered that the truest treasure is not found in wealth, nor in duty, nor in ancient bargains. It lies in freedom, in courage, and in the love that dares to walk beside you.
Great job today. You learn new words and expressions through our story. Remember, the more you listen, the more you understand. Don't forget to subscribe to Learning English Through History and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and share it with your friends. Thank you for learning with me. See you in the next story. Bye for now.